right, welcome back. Still game on. I am Favour, Itua. All right, we told you, of course, that we will be talking about football development across the world. Don't forget, of course, in America, a Nigerian who, of course, left the shores of the country to United States of America has been doing a lot when it comes to the world of coaching. He has coached FC Tulsa, and from FC Tulsa, he went all the way to the under-16 of the U.S. men's national youth team in December last year. And since then, the exploit at the youth games, a youth tournament in Japan, has now been elevated into the under-19 role. Talking about Michael Nsein, he joins us all the way from the United States of America this evening to talk about development of soccer talent, the challenges, and of course the triumphs. Good evening to you, Michael Nsein, all the way from US. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Favour? Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
All right, and how is everything over there? How's the weather at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago and it's a little overcast and rainy, but it's typical this time of year, so I can't complain.
All right, let's talk about, first of all, I mean, just about some days ago, you were appointed as the under-19 men's youth national team of the United States of America. I mean, talking about the new role, you have been with the U.S. age grade team from under-16 now to under-19. What does it take to identify talents in football?
Yeah, I would say in the U.S., it's a difficult landscape. We're a massive country, a very diverse, massive country. So a lot of opinions about what is a good player and where do they come from. So we have a robust scouting department, and it's really important that we kind of spread a net and we speak the same language, and we all come back and have a lot of conversations about where we see the game and how we see players developing in our country. And then we have to give them the best opportunities possible and put them in an environment where they're challenged. So I think we've been able to do that so far. You can see the academies growing in the United States, and now it's up to us in the federation to give them further exposure throughout the world.
All right, sometimes players, when you discover them at a young age, they oftentimes start well. Sometimes you tip some of these players to be future stars. I mean, along the line, some of these players, do not live up to expectation. What can you say is the cause of, this, happening? I mean, we've seen the likes in the past, Bojan, who played, for Barcelona. We've also seen Macaulay Chrysanthus of Nigeria. But at this point in time, they are nowhere to be found. What oftentimes happen to these players, especially when they are tipped to succeed or shine at a young age?
Yeah, typical to any career. In football, there's always going to be challenges. There's going to be ups and downs. When you get exposed to a high pressure environment at a young age, sometimes that bright light is a little bit too difficult for you. So I think it's important that players are always supported in the right way and to expect challenges, but at the same time know that how they respond to those challenges is going to determine their future. So never to get too down on yourself and never to be too high feeling about where you're at, just to continue to be very steady and consistent along your development.
All right, let's now go straight to the aspect of Africa and Nigeria. We have lots of talent in Nigeria, lots of talent scattered abroad in Africa. And oftentimes, it's difficult for these players to easily go straight into the top clubs in the world, especially in Europe. What's the cause of this? I mean, with the players and with the number of players we have in Nigeria and Africa.
Yeah, I think people all agree that Nigeria, as well as Africa, has a ton of talent, and maybe they can kind of consider it raw material to get that actually produced and perfected in order to take it out of that environment to another environment. It can be the difficult part, whether it's Europe or America or a different country. Everywhere else has its own environment that's unique into itself. So I would say Nigerians, for example, are maybe used to that creativity and things that people really like about the style of play. But you get into a certain environment, and they kind of want to trim you and make it a little bit different and for that particular club or country. So I think it's about adjusting to the country, one, and then also adjusting to different styles of play. So the sooner the better the Nigerian academies are able to give guardrails in order to prepare them for life, and not just football, but life outside of the sport and in their whatever country future they reside in, the better off they'll be. But it's not just about the game; it's about being able to adapt to a different way of life. Some pros and cons to all of it.
All right, Coach, interesting one so far. I mean, let's now go straight to you being a Nigerian. At some point in time, you had the opportunity to play in the dream team early 2000s, and now you're a coach. And a lot of persons, believe and expect that Michael Nsein, being a U.S. coach, should be able to look forward to development of talent in Nigeria and Africa. Do you plan to come to Nigeria to develop talent or to scout for talent, for teams here?
Yeah, I think that door has always been open for me, and it's always been a dream of mine. Very happy in the U.S. and kind of the journey of coaching that I've been blessed with. But of course, Nigeria has always been on my heart, always been on my mind about the future and how the sport can continue to evolve there. I would say Nigeria has so many talents, as you mentioned, but I feel like they just need more in terms of resources and people scouting and identifying and helping bring that to the light. So I'm just one of those people that Nigeria has a special place in my heart, and always look forward to an opportunity to work in the country.
All right, just about a year ago or two, you applied for one of the age grade job in the national team of Nigeria. Now we've seen coaches oftentimes go out and come back. Do you plan to coach the Super Eagles of Nigeria? We've been having issues every now and then with our coaching department. Is that something in your mind in the nearest future?
It's in the future, of course. I think just my current trajectory of where I'm at in coaching, the path that I'm on, I think it shows that my way. And if that happens to be Nigeria, that would also be a blessing. But I'm always preparing myself for the greatest opportunity that comes my way. Nigeria, of course, would be an extreme honor. I think in terms of the expectation of Nigeria fans and supporters, we know what they want. We know what they expect. They've underachieved in some recent times, but we can see all the talent and quality that's in that team at the moment. So who wouldn't want to work with that?
All right. And now this brings me to my next question. In the United States of America, we have the under 15, under 16, under 17. We have over 14 youth.
I know for us in the U.S., what we're able to do more often is track players. So if we start identifying players at 14, and the next year coaches are coaching in the national team 1 year and 2 year cycles, we can keep a track of where that player started and kind of their trajectory as where they've been and where they're going through. So I think we just have a lot more access to that player's growth and maturity and what they've experienced in their clubs and inside the national team. If you take a data point and then you just jump all the way from 17 to 20, you don't really know what happened in between, why that player succeeded or failed. I think it's important to know the direction, the path that a player is on, so you can kind of make real predictions about where they'll be in the future.
All right, Coach, just to wrap up today's edition of the conversation with you, I'd like to ask now, looking at the experience with some, of course, with talents in the US and, of course, with your experience as a coach, when trying to make it to the professional level, what are the challenges that you think that young players, often experience, and how can these challenges be overcome?
Yeah, I would say I get a lot of phone calls and messages about this. A lot of it feels like players are working hard and they just don't feel like they've been seen. I think one of the most important things is to find people that are giving the right resources and support to players that have done it in the past. So if you can find yourself an academy that's produced players before, that they have the connections and they have the resources to provide. And then you get there and you do the work. You can't be discouraged. I think that mental stamina that coaches like to talk about, that we love. Players, like I mentioned, you go through ups and downs, and can you stay consistent throughout that whole process? So it's about getting to the right places. And when you get there, you can't look back. You have to continue to go forward and never give up.
All right, thank you very much, Coach Michael Nsein, for your time. And we hope that in the nearest future and in the nearest months, we can get more and more successes that will also transfer to Nigeria and Africa. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Have a blessed day.